Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of Plated Stories. If you notice a difference in the setting, it's because we are not at the Palm Springs at the clubhouse, but we are in our original abode, that is the WTC, We the Chefs Experiential Center in Gurgaon. And with me are two people I know very well in two avatars, first as journalists and then as food entrepreneurs. So this is Arati Thapa. Her I never expected her ever to cook anything, but now she runs a hugely successful Boju's kitchen at 32nd.
Thank you.
It used to be called 32nd Milestone
Right.
in my youth, but
Right.
it's now better known as a Google headquarters.
Right.
And it has some of Gurgaon's finest restaurants.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Boju's kitchen is one of them. We'll talk more about it, Aarti.
Right.
And of course, we have Ruchira Hoon, whom many of you may remember from the second edition of MasterChef's India. She has been a journalist. So that's what connects all three of us together. We also have another connection. We all worked at the Hindustan Times sometime in our life.
Right.
And Aarti and I had the fortune of working together once upon a time. And Ruchira now runs what used to be called Dakshin Canteen, but now as she's expanding, she's renamed it as Dravin Canteen. We'll ask her why she renamed it in a little while. Ruchira, let's start with you. Tell us something about Dakshin, now Dravin Canteen, and why did you decide to change the name, and what does the new name mean?
Sure. So, one of the things that we were having issues with Dakshin Canteen was that I was not able to do so much food from Sri Lanka and Lakshadweep as I wanted to. And Dravin at the end of the day means wealth, prosperity. It is another name for Krishna, and it's also in our national anthem. It's like the encompassing of the entire southern peninsula. So that's why as we were growing, we decided that it was time to rebrand. And it was something that I could then talk about all the other stuff that I love. All the yummy Sri Lankan food, all the things that I wanted to bring from Lakshadweep. In fact, I've got some very fantastic home cooks coming in February to do a really fantastic Lakshadweepan pop-up. Wow. So I wanted to do this, and this sort of helped me, spread my wings a little bit more. I didn't want to feel caged. And as we were growing, we wanted a uniquely different name because now it's 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3. So it's
that's fantastic.
Quite hectic.
So, Lakshadweep cuisine is something we know nothing about.
Absolutely.
And, tell us, now that you've sort of stoked our appetite, you must tell us something about it.
So one of the most, of course, there are series of islands, like we all know, there's Minikoi, Kavrati, Agati, all these things. And what happens is a lot of it is fishing, right? Fishing communities is what keeps the entire food alive over there. And it's whatever grows on the island. So it's island cuisine plus a lot of fishing. So they use a lot of tuna and they use a lot of dried tuna and coconut. So it's a cross between their own indigenous cooking and a little bit of food from Kerala. I won't say it tastes exactly like that, but there is a little crossover which happens. And I would say from more North Kerala perspective. So there you have something called hikimas, which is dried tuna, and it's used as an umami agent in literally everything. Dal mein bhi chala jayega, sabzi mein bhi chala jayega. Wow. It'll go in a salad, it'll be nice. So it's quite incredible.
So vegetarians should not eat that dal.
So they have other things. They have a lot of tomatoes also they use. Okay. And then they use the tomatoes in very different ways. Like, even with you, you'd roast the tomato.
Yeah.
They do a lot of, they'll roast the tomatoes in coconut shell. So it gives it a very different sort of flavor.
Yes.
So I just felt that, before we lose all this fantastic food, there should be people who should be able to experience it.
Fantastic.
And that's what my whole idea was.
Lovely.
Such a great thing. Aarti, you became a home cook during COVID.
Right.
And when you once called me and said that you were launching some momos and you wanted to test them out on, I was almost dreading the thought of having them because I couldn't imagine you cooking,
Yes.
You're the editor of Asia Spa.
Yes.
I've always seen you in glamorous settings, There's fashion models and beautiful men and women, So, I was skeptical But then I was absolutely blown by the momos you sent, and
Thank you.
and now Boju's kitchen. Now,
Thank you so
the
much.
Boju's I think means grandmother.
Grandmother.
Can you
that's
say what is the root of your cuisine, and what is that you're selling at Boju's
Okay.
kitchen?
So, how I started Boju's Kitchen was because of my daughter. During the COVID, she lost her job. And she said, now I have nothing to do because I've been laid off by my office. And she was all of 21 then. So, and she was crying the whole day. So I said, why are you crying? You have so much to do. You know, you have the whole life. And then I think a few of her friends came over to pacify her. And those days you can't get into the house, so they stayed outside, and we had a mom staying with us those days, and my mom, being a very strict cutter vegetarian, she also likes to have her momos every 2-3 days. But usually in Darjeeling, we have momo with soup.
Yeah.
So she will never have momo without her soup. So that day she said, I'm going to have my veg momo and do the soup with me. And then my daughter said that if you are having momos, cook some non-veg ones, so chicken also for my friends, and I'll serve it to them. So, it was put in plates and given, there were 3 cars outside. Those days you can't come together. Yeah, you can't come inside the house. So she took 3 trays and gave to them. And one of the friends said, it's so nice, everybody's doing a, home kitchen stuff, and you also should do it. So she came all, excited, and she said that I want to start a momo kitchen. So, I said, this is COVID happening and nobody's going to eat food from your kitchen. So just calm down. But my mother, who was there, she said, if she wants to start, why are you stopping her? Let her start, So she took out a 2,000 rupee note, which was a lot because you can't go to the ATM those days. I think she must have had like 6,000-7,000 rupees in her purse. And she said, take this and order online whatever you want, and I will help you. So she said, what will I name? Then I said, listen, your grandmother has helped you, so name it Boju's Kitchen, because Boju is your nani, dadi, everybody, and that's how we started. So obviously, because it was momo, and that is how we started, and I had no
How do you promote, because you're completely new.
Yes.
How do you promote yourself? Of course, I believe I know your daughter,
Yes.
Chitrangada,
Yes.
is a marketing professional.
Yes.
And she's with JW Magazine.
Right.
But how did you promote your Boju's Kitchen?
Yes. So, kids these days, like Chitrangada, she was born into social media, I should say that. So, she just asked her friend, a photographer friend, said that I'm doing this. Can you just take some pictures? So he said, send me momos and I'll do the pictures. So we sent the cutlery and momo, everything to him. He did the pictures, and that's how it started. That absolutely, there was no marketing, no nothing. I think it was just the taste.
Did you use WhatsApp?
No, he's a professional photographer.
Okay.
He was actually a wedding photographer, and she was into the wedding line because we have that wedding page also. No, so he said, you send it to me, and that's how we send the pictures, and that's just how it. I think we had about 10-12 pictures, and we kept on rotating that, and it was just how I think Chitrangada was putting up the pictures, and we started getting the orders, and there were people. There were days when we were literally very busy during the COVID, like we were all exhausted by 10 o'clock. I was just, okay, now I cannot do anymore. I can't stand it. I think it is just the taste. People just, and it's momo. It's a simple thing. It's not messy. You just need 2 chutneys, 2-3 chutneys, and just, there's no jowl to it. There's no gravy to it. There's no, like rust to it,
So restaurant, you have a lot.
We have all of these.
Jowl momo is a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing now. Yeah, we have Sadeko momo, jowl momo. But those days we were not doing. And in Delhi, people are not used to receiving momo with soup. Like in Darjeeling, you do get a bowl of soup every time you get a momo. So it was much easy. Yeah. And I think people got used to the momo taste. And also because we make very specifically in a very Darjeeling manner. In the sense, there is no MSG. There is no Timur or anything for that extra umami. It's simple the way we had it. It's just ginger.
That is really caught on.
Yeah, it's just ginger and onion, and that's it.
Look tasty.
Yeah.
The umami comes from, it's the simplest ingredient.
Yeah. So I was so surprised. It's such a simple thing. What are they liking about it, So I think it's just the simplicity, yeah. The chutney, and you just marry it together, the blandness of the momo and the spiciness of the chutney, and that's how it took up.
So, Ruchira, what we're doing, you started out as a journalist.
Yeah.
And that's what took you to Hindustan Times. Or you were with Deccan Chronicle and then you moved to Hindustan Times.
That too, as a journalist, but my story is a little strange and foolish also. Because I've always wanted to be a chef. I think I was 8 years old when I knew I wanted to be a chef.
Wow.
In fact, I remember standing up in class and they were saying, what do you want to do? I said, I want to cook and I want to feed people. And this has been my theme throughout my life. So when I was growing up, 11th, 12th, I was like, I want to go to culinary school. And for some strange reason, because my father used to be a restaurateur.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
he used to run a restaurant in New York.
Oh.
He was like, I know the perils of running a restaurant. This is not the life you want.
Yeah.
So he was like, no, you study a little bit and then you figure out. So then I did my bachelor's. I said, now can I go to culinary school? He said, finish your master's.
And what did you study in...
So I did English literature.
Oh, okay.
Then I did mass communication and journalism as my master's. So it was like that. So bachelor's, went into your master's, I finished my master's. He's like, oh, why don't you do work for a while? By then I was like, I'd already, interned with Indian Express and this, and I got absorbed very quickly. Then I went for a year to New York to do creative writing, whereas I should have gone to CIA. But no, my father was like, no, you go to NYU, you figure this out. I came back and then I was a full-fledged journalist.
Wow.
But that thing inside me never died. I was always
You did creative writing at NYU.
Yeah. So that also I did.
So we can expect a novel from you sometime.
I hope so.
And not
Food and romance.
On the parents. Yeah, so right. Two chefs fall in love over a bowl of momos.
I would say murder over a bowl of food.
Yeah.
That's what I love. If there's two things I love is a murder mystery and food. Like I'm obsessed with that shows. But that's what happened with me. And then throughout, even as a journalist, I would still be cooking a lot. I would call people over. I would be constantly cooking, baking, as you know. And, even back at HT, I would just bring cakes, etc. Whatever I wanted to try. I also started my cookbook library at that point.
Wow.
Now.
And when you were a journalist, what were you writing on?
Lifestyle and food.
Okay.
So I would by default, because I was so oh my God, I felt so passionate about it. I would default get food stories to write about. And it just became that to a point where my ex-husband and I, when we moved to Islamabad, and then I had to quit my journalism job. That's when I realized that I actually didn't want to do journalism enough. I did. This was done, and I wanted to come back and figure out something in food.
Yeah.
So I changed careers at the
And your ex-husband was a journalist?
He is a journalist.
With PTI?
With the print now.
Okay, with the print.
Yeah.
At that time, I think he was Islamabad correspondent of Press Trust of India.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we came back and I was like, okay, this is not what my life is to be. I can't be living this way because the actual thing I want to do is cook and feed people. Mm-hmm. So then I switched careers and at 35 and I was like, okay, very doggedly okay, I want to do this. I will figure this thing out. If I have to ragdo myself to do it from scratch, I'll figure it out. It was a hard 5-6 years. I guess it's
because you also did a website of recipes.
I did a blog in the good old days of blogging, not what they call blogging now, where I would really be writing my recipes. I would put all the things. It was pretty popular even back then.
And then I remember the first time I saw you as a chef, it was at the Piano Man.
It was, yes. That was, I think, so I was already consulting with them from 2012.
Okay.
And 2015, 16, I joined them full time.
And you started some Anglo-Indian, the restaurant within a restaurant.
Yes. We did a European and Asian restaurant within a restaurant. We did all that. We were doing a lot of concepts, etc.
Right.
Then I moved to Olive, where I worked with Iqbal, with COVID, of course. Right. And then in COVID, I started my own, my own home kitchen with the same thought, who's going to eat anything from somebody's home kitchen. But it shocked us the way the response was.
Yeah.
And I think
your home kitchen had what? Bakery stuff? Or was it?
So what I would do is I'd do a menu, set menu. I would do whatever I felt like. Yeah. So that if I felt like doing Kerala food, that 1 week I would do Kerala food. If I felt like doing Persian, I would do Persian, Pakistani, a lot of South Indian. And what I saw was my South Indian worked the best. And people who've come and eaten in my house have always said that what you cook is not something we've ever eaten, because it's what is true from the down south, like, which is where I grew up. So that was the genesis of Dravin Canteen for us. And Vivek, who's my partner, he was like, look, this is what we have to sell. This is what people like. And this is where it will, that's the difference, because people don't know beyond like a Udupi style or like a little bit of a Talasheri biryani, for example. Beyond that, people are not really accustomed to different regions, community, this thing. So that was the genesis of that.
Interesting. Aarti, like, again, when you were a journalist, you still are, of all the things, you were a consulting editor for a data center magazine.
Yes, it's a US-based magazine. It's a very interesting subject, yes.
Far from, food.
What I was doing.
So what made you, sort of, by training also, you're not a scientist or anything, or an engineer. You're an English literature graduate.
Yes, I am.
So, why did you decide? Did you ever write on food?
I wrote when I was in HTCT. I wrote quite a lot.
Yes. Yeah, you wrote. Yeah. And then you moved into Asia Spa.
Yes.
Which was
all about wellness and spas. And yes.
So, how did you get so interested in food? Or was it just the circumstances that made you interested in food?
No, basically, I have always been interested in cooking, and my father was the one who just loved my food. Every time I cooked something, he would say, "Oh, this is so nice," and he would kiss my hand, so I would feel so nice about it, and even if it is just mutton mixed with mooli or chicken mixed with beans, he would just love whatever I cooked, so I just felt happy whenever he liked it. And then and he was for a few years he was in Burma, and he loved cooking Burmese food, and he would tell me, he never got into the kitchen, but he would tell me how to cook the Burmese food, and not just Burmese food. He would tell me a lot of anecdotes about the Burmese way of living, and how to take care of your skin with the rice water and rice husk and everything, and how to make your prawn chutney and prawn pickle and all that. I think that really got into me. For him, even if I make a plain khichdi, he would just love it. So I think that was what it was. And then later when I started cooking, my kids would love whatever I cooked, even if it's a simple dal, like my daughter and my son, whenever they go, whenever they travel and they come back, they'll always say from the airport itself, Mama, just cook rice, dal and that aloo charchari, because those are very simple things which every house has, but it's your comfort food when you travel abroad and you want to come back and have that food. So that's how it started. Now, because of the COVID, I started cooking, and I was serving whatever I was cooking at home. I didn't have any hospitality, background, or I didn't have a restaurateur background, or I didn't have a cooking background. I didn't go to any cooking school. I was just cooking. Just for the love of it, I was cooking. That's it. And that is how it started.
So how do you then manage the logistics? Because, I've learned because of my years, more than the years association with the region. There's a lot of science and management that goes behind the food we see on the table.
Yes.
So how do you master that bit, Like pricing, for instance, how did you decide what will be the right price?
So,
products,
we do a very simple thing. We go specially ourselves to source the freshness of the things. There's no staff doing it. The buying happens by ourselves. So we just put a pricing on the label, on the bag, and on the environment friendly containers, disposable bags, and all. And then we keep a margin of let's say 40 to 50% for us, and that's how we price.
Okay.
That's very simple. That's how our family does it. I mean, we don't have anybody telling us how to do it or whatever. So if it's expensive for somebody, I explain to them, because this is how we do it. And I can't, I buy my own chicken thighs and I mince it and then I make it. I'm not buying a keema and making momo for you, because it takes a lot of effort from you also, to go to see the best thing come into your kitchen from the vendor, and then you put it in a blender and then you make it, or you do it with your or hand. My guys will do it with a hand, and then you make the momos. It's a whole lot of effort that goes to it, and that's how I think you can feel the freshness and the the difference between what you get. It's not frozen stuff. It's all made
and
there
that's
and
what
then.
tastes, it's juicy
Yes.
and it tastes
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, same question, Ruchira, you're not a trained hotelier or restaurateur, yet you do this work on a day-to-day, say bread and butter today. How do you, figure out, or, learn the tricks and the tips or what, of
So
the
there are
trade?
plus and minuses of being
Yes.
self-taught, right?
Yeah.
One is because you're self-taught, you have to be thinking out of the box.
Right.
Because you're not like trained to, acha, ye aise hi ho sakta hai. Then you start thinking more on your feet. You've got to be a little more street
You're not
smart.
process-driven or
Yeah.
systems-driven.
But ultimately, I see that now I have to go backwards and I
Right.
have to become
Right.
process and system driven.
Right.
But at least that jump to understand is because I think Aarti, you would have also seen that. Is to be street smart about what you're doing.
Yes.
See what your competitors are up to and then sort of price yourself.
Yes.
I've been very fortunate because I have worked with some very, very good people, and that's who are in my team, and we're able to streamline and process it. And now where we're at in terms of Dravin Canteen, we're also trying to, I want to only focus on quality and creativity.
Right.
I don't want to focus on, so we've got now like a little team. We've grown a little bit, so
Right.
we can get a little team to help us do all these process-driven things. But it is hard.
Yes.
Especially when you're
Hard.
procurement.
Yeah.
Especially procurement,
Oh, yeah.
starting with procurement
Yeah.
and accounts, of course, it just goes above
Yeah.
my head, definitely. So how do you do that,
So
now you have a team.
now I have a team,
But
but initially I was doing everything on my own, like art.
10 or 12 years ago, you didn't have a team.
I was doing everything. In fact, even during COVID, we have a team.
Mm.
I was constantly just chiloing nariyal all the time. That was my whole thing.
Yeah.
Just like
Right.
the old-fashioned way with my grandmother.
Yes.
Just
Right.
doing that. That was
Yeah.
all.
So that's something
Monday
you share with Chef Manish Mehrotra,
Yeah.
who told us in the last
Coconut.
episode about his, love for coconuts and how he developed that. Yeah.
So that's what I mean. But now I feel blessed. I'm like, okay, at least I don't have to sit on the floor and do shell.
No, but procurement is the most
It's
important
challenging.
part, and it's
Yeah.
very challenging. Like, I know now she has people, but for me, on certain days, you'll see me at the sabzi mandis at 5
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
I will go myself and I will, do things myself. And when I'm chopping, when my guys are chopping, I make sure that it's fresh. Like, I have people, because Boju's kitchen, it's a live kitchen, it's right in the front.
Yeah.
So sometimes people come and people see us doing spring onion and they say, oh, that looks so fresh. It's because I've gone there and I've picked it up myself.
No, so there are days when
Yes.
certain ingredients, my staff also doesn't understand why I
Yes.
put it. And I will speak, and I know their name in Tamil.
Yeah.
Or, Telugu.
Yeah.
So I will say this and they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
How does this look? I'm like, I'll only go and buy it. It's easier for me
Yeah.
to get what I want.
Yeah.
And then I'll explain.
Yeah.
Then we'll get the Hindi name for it and then you guys can do it. So
Like
they're
the
very
other
good.
day, I went to Hosa,
Yeah.
at Gurgaon, and they had something called the sorakai salad.
Yeah.
I loved it,
Loki.
but sorakai is
Loki,
Loki.
yeah.
Then I said, that's a sexier name than Loki. Let's call
Anybody will
sorakai,
eat it.
So I actually have a story. We do these in the Iyengar community. We do a lot of dal. It's also my one side of my family is from Andhra, so Pappu, right? So we do a lot of dal. One of them is cucumber or dosakai as they call it. This is the big yellow cucumber or patla wala cucumber. However, my brother-in-law doesn't eat cucumber and Loki, and you give them all these names. So I said, this is an Armenian cucumber dal or pappu. He lapped the whole thing up. He's like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten. And I'm like, okay, it's Loki kara. Or I'll say, butternut squash. Kaddu khila.
Kaddu become butternut squash. Yeah.
So you have to scam people a little bit to get them to try new things.
Yeah.
I don't think it's to do with the larger picture. Just keep your bias aside and just try something.
Yes.
It's like, the Chilean sea bass.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a worse looking fish in the world.
Bad.
It's a deadly, and it's also called something Patagonian some demon or something like that. So
Tiny and
it looks very gross, But once it comes to your table, it's wow, sea bass, and people charge extra because it's Chilean sea bass. So it's like that.
It's like that.
So these are the as home chefs,
Yes.
because you're also home chefs in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Home chefs have graduated. to
Yes.
become full-fledged
Yes.
restaurant chef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is easier to do? Is it easier to run a restaurant? Arti, first you, then Ruchira. Is it easier to run a restaurant, or is it good to just operate from home?
So there are plus and minuses, because running a restaurant, to everybody who's dreaming of starting a restaurant, let me tell you, it's not easy. You need to be fully focused on what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's a 24-hour
It's a
job.
24-hour job. It's a 24-hour job. And if you are just a cook, if you are just cooking, but you don't know your accounting, then it's a big minus there. It's a big no. So you must have somebody who knows the accounting, because then somebody can, just focus on cooking and getting it on the right, plating it right and putting it on the table and making the guests feel good about it. Because accounting is also major part of running a restaurant. If you're not getting your revenues, if you are losing money, for example, I was interviewing somebody as a chef in my restaurant, in my cafe, not a restaurant. It's a small cafe. So he came and I said, okay, show me what you will do. So he took out some capsicums from the fridge, the red and the yellow capsicum. And he went like this, and he went on the top like this, and he went just threw it in the garbage, in the top. I said, the major portion of this thing is gone to the dustbin. How do I save my money?
You're already calculating the food cost.
Yes, because that's what happens to you when you run a restaurant. You actually know the spillage, you know the wastage, like we were giving chutneys in those chutney bowls, 2-3 chutneys. You have your chili oil, you have your peanut chutney, and you have your fresh tomato chutney, roasted tomato chutney. And then I see people just, eating, and half of it is left, or if they like one particular chutney most, then they'll finish that and leave the rest. So then I realize it's a lot of wastage, They're not complaining that you're giving them this thing, but they're not able to finish it also, because there is so much of variety and you can only eat so much. So then I resorted to putting it in those, little bowls with duckans and, so these are little things that comes to you. You learn while you cook.
Yeah.
It's not,
Right.
So this is the thing,
Yeah.
process driven,
Yes.
based on instinct.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the main thing. I mean, you will make mistakes.
Yes.
And as
And as home chef, do you make more mistakes, or you sort of learn and
home chefs,
chef, I feel you're in a very
like controlled, environment.
You know we can only take out that much.
Yes.
If you're cooking, say your max capacity is 40 orders.
Yes.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here with the restaurant, of course, it gives you unlimited capacity.
Yes.
You can do many other things. But I also feel that when it comes to running a restaurant, unless you can understand there's a 360 value, it's not just the food, it's also the experience, it's also the loose,
the decor, the ambience,
it's how you're handling your kitchen team, it's how your accounts are sitting, it's how unless you can see it as a 360 perspective, it's an impossible task. And I know so many people come to me a lot, because I've also been a consultant. So many people come to me, we were like, oh, we want to do this, we want to do that, and I'm like, but are you equipped to understand that the other things are also there? You could be a great businessman, but hire the wrong people. You could hire the best people, be a really terrible businessman. So it can go either which ways. So you have to be aware, and honestly, you cannot sleep.
Yes.
Cannot sleep.
Yes. Yes.
The first couple of months, it's you're in the kitchen, you're in the floor, you're at the till, you're doing your accounts. It's every single thing.
Also, I think the plus point about cooking from home is, that if certain things are left, you can eat it tomorrow or reuse it, repurpose it in whichever way you want. But at a restaurant, that's not possible. That's really not possible. You can't give them something which is cooked, a day before and then serve.
Exactly. Because biryani is big. I would like to do fresh biryani every single day. I don't want. I could come.
Yes.
I could eat.
We will eat. Yes,
I give my staff could eat.
Yes.
I don't want to give it to the guests. I want to make fresh food
exactly.
every single day for them.
Exactly.
So which brings me very impressively, you raised this issue, because I was talking to a young lady the other day, and her husband works for Compass and at Google Hyderabad, and she was saying that how they have achieved almost zero waste,
Amazing.
but Do you have systems in place to ensure zero waste?
I can't do zero waste
Right.
because I have prawns and crab.
Impossible.
It's not possible for me to
Impossible.
do it.
Yes.
Right.
Right? And because things will come out of it.
Yeah.
Right? So I won't
Right.
lie. I can do vegetarian wise, I can do a little bit more
Mhm.
zero waste. But when the moment the meats come in,
Yeah.
I don't think I have the bandwidth to make, like, say,
Mm.
if I've got mutton left over in terms of bones,
Mm.
yeah, okay, we can make stock. But
Stock,
the very funny thing is, 90% of my staff is vegetarian and teetotaler. What do I do then?
Oh God.
Yeah. So I was so shocked because it's so sattvic.
Right.
That was a big eye-opening thing for me.
No, but also with the non-veg, what happens is like there are 6 people there are 6 tables happening, and you cook that much, and you cook a little extra,
Right.
so that in case somebody asks, because you can't again make them wait for another 20-30 minutes for a second helping. So you make that. Now, but they've ordered that much and they've eaten that much because there are other things to eat also.
Yeah.
Now that thing is remaining. ठीक है अब उसको कौन खाएगा? We are not going to wait till evening the guest खाएगा तो उसको, because again that's not going to be
So you
feasible.
put it in cold storage or something like that.
No, I have not done it so far, but
Right.
I have plans to, because I saw some ads with
Hotels
frozen
is
meat.
very common.
It is very
Yes,
common.
yes.
It is very common.
It's okay.
Yes.
Some of it is fine.
Yeah.
But not every food can
Yeah.
be done. Some
Yeah.
stuff, I can't make my chutney 2
Yeah.
days and keep it.
No, that's not possible.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
It
Yes.
tastes funky.
Yes.
I don't want it to
Yes.
taste funky. There are certain things you can do it with, maybe with a curry, like a mutton curry. You
Yeah.
can easily keep it because it'll taste better.
Yeah.
The next day you can remove the meat and then you can figure that out. But there's so many things that you have to be on top of every single day.
Yeah. No, everything that I do.
Portion control is a very important thing.
It's so important. It's so very important, whether
On the
it's...
other hand, I feel that people are so, like, they want more food,
Yeah.
want bigger portions. They don't mind wasting. I don't know why that mentality has suddenly set in that, hey, it's okay, agar आधा खा लिया तो it's okay. I can't remember.
See,
I think
that's
my mother
the
used to
problem.
be shouting at me always if I didn't finish my food in my plate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the problem modern Indian cuisine has, because, when people see the little thing on such a big plate, and then say, oh God, is that a samosa? What kind of samosa is it? So that, the whole idea of eating small portions
Yeah.
just doesn't, sit well with us.
Honestly, Swarish, we're not terribly big eaters.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't do big portions
Well,
of steak.
you don't have steaks and all that,
seafood
yeah.
all that. We're not those. We are a community style
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah.
I mean, whichever state or whichever this thing, we want to have couple of different things.
Yeah.
Even if you're having dal, rice,
Yeah,
chorchi,
yeah.
achar, papad,
Yeah.
the whole time
Yeah.
पांच चीजें ऐसी.
हाँ.
So we are that kind of people. So I find it very difficult to see when people order that, and even when you come to a restaurant, you want to, actually, ये भी try करना, I've got to try this. And then if you feel that the portion is not enough, which I don't feel is right, because in we weigh everything and we send out.
Yeah.
But I see people waste so much food.
Yes.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
How much of wastage generated every day?
Depends on how many people are on the table.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is the average sort of food?
So I to get a lot of couples,
Right.
2 people wala.
Yeah.
I won't say couples really, it is just 2 people.
Yeah.
And I know they try their best, but they want to eat more things.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I'll give you a box, take it away, figure it out.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I mean, best of doggy box.
Doggy panther.
It's always nice. I think the guests also feel very happy because they
Waste
Great.
This frozen thing, I also realized when I did this pop-up with Shangri-La and some of the other those high-end clubs, I realized that all the dim sums they have is already done.
Yeah.
And then they'll take 3 and then reheat it.
Yeah.
And then even the chutneys or the gravy, they'll take a little bit and reheat, and which I had never done before.
Yeah.
Because
croissants today
Yeah.
are nowhere fresh.
no, that's
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Everything is popped in the oven,
Yeah. But I also saw a lot of these other brands also doing frozen momos. So I was telling my daughter, I think we should also get into the frozen thing.
That's a very big
Yes.
opportunity waiting to be.
You see, Arati, momos lend themselves to be frozen.
Yes.
There's no damage to it.
There's no damage to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
there's no damage to it. Yeah.
No harm in embracing technology.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Back in the day, what was it? We didn't
Yeah.
have fridges.
Yeah.
And that's why you had to eat as fresh as you could.
I mean, like I tried it only when I saw all of these. I think 5 months or 6 months back, जो बचा हुआ था ना, I said, let's freeze it and let's see whether, the taste is same or not.
Yeah.
The taste was same, but you can't do that with the chutneys.
No,
Because for
that is
chutneys,
very
because you put chutneys and you lose its spiciness, you lose its saltiness,
Color.
you lose, the tomato chutney becomes very runny, you can see the water alag se and the chutney.
Right.
So you cannot do that. Chutneys have to be, at least minimum you can do is you make it every day. You set a time, like once maybe the restaurant starts at 12 o'clock, you have your jar ready by 11 o'clock. And then you take it till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, that's the most that you can do. If next day, then again you do the same thing. This is how I think it
I
should
think
be.
frankly, we have learned so much from the two of you. Because you're speaking from the heart and
Yes.
real experience.
And my
You
personal
you
experience.
actually got your hands dirty in kitchen.
Yes, yeah.
You're not there ordering around people or something,
Yeah.
and that's what a restaurateur is all about.
That's why I don't do this social media a lot with my food, because I can't have a gloves and do my.
Oh.
I just cannot do it. I have to put my hand,
But
and then
the amount my phone has been in flour, in chutney,
Yeah.
in pyaz, I have to constantly clean it, or that's how it is. That's why I now cover everything. The amount my phone has been in, because I have to respond to somebody or anything. It's full
The
of food.
phone has eaten all the ingredients.
Every time. It's like that.
I can't like gundo atta with gloves.
Yeah.
I have to put my hand to it. Then I can't make my momos with gloves.
How
I have to.
my hand is very
You
That's
cannot
why
do
your
that.
momos taste so well. That's the secret of good taste.
And if I want to do it on Instagram, then my daughter tells me, no, you have to wear gloves. Then नहीं बनेगा, मैं नहीं करूँगी इसको, रहने दो, I can't do nothing which I'm not doing in the kitchen,
It's hard to do. You need the.
How will you make the
Yeah.
pleats of the momo with this thing, with the, so, yeah, we speak from our heart. I think that's how.
Thank you so much. Thank you for a really enlightening discussion. I think we talked a lot of brass tacks today.
Yes,
and,
because you have the home chefs today, that's why.
It's so good talking to you, and great to see journalists, can do very well in other professions too, And I haven't done so, but it's always nice to see people who have done so well. I wish you all the best. And,
Thank you so much.
I hope
Delish.
you have many more Bojus and many more Dravins,
Thank you
And
for having
become,
us.
You become a Momo billionaire now. I call you a Momo millionaire. So now I'm Momo millionaire.
Yes.
Boju's billion.
Yeah, Boju's
That's what.
Yeah.
and Dravin's what? I can't find an alliterative word,
Dollar wala.
Yeah. Dravin dollars. Thank you so much. Thank you.
so
Thank you
much.
for having
Thank you.
And till the next time we come on Plated Stories, goodbye and good luck.